Hello everybody, Sian Burton here. I work with female private practice owners to scale their practice to 7 figures and beyond in a way that aligns with their feminine values. Today, I am here to talk to you about overwhelm. And the reason I'm here talking about overwhelm is because there's been a few ladies that I've spoken to this week and a few ladies in our program who have hit this point of being really overwhelmed, particularly if they're new in the program. And I want to talk about that and give you some tools and tactics about how you can move past the overwhelm, because nobody wants to be overwhelmed and we don't want you stuck there. So first up, let's talk about why overwhelm happens and actually why it can be a good sign, not a good thing, but a good sign. So overwhelm occurs obviously when we have got too much on our plate and we have too many people asking too many questions of us and we are trying to be too many things to too many people. The reason that it can be a good sign is that often when you get into overwhelm in your practice, when you haven't been overwhelmed, like you've always been overwhelmed, then that's a bit different. But if things have been kind of okay and then you suddenly feel really overwhelmed and there's too much to do, it's a really good sign, A, that you're growing and that more things are happening. Like it often happens when you bring a couple of new team members on. A few months later, it catches up because now there's more people asking questions. There's more things being processed by your admin team. Therefore, they have more questions. So it's often a sign that you're growing and that you are moving in the right direction. It also is a sign that your systems and processes are not where they need to be and your delegation is not where it needs to be for the size that your practice is growing to. So that's why it's a good sign, right? It lets us know that things are not working and we need to fix them. But the challenge is that people, if you don't realize that's what the overwhelm is showing you, that you've grown and your systems and processes need to change and your role and your team's role needs to change to alleviate that overwhelm, people just stay stuck in it. And, sometimes people will come to me and they're on the verge of burnout or they've been through burnout because they've been overwhelmed for a really long time. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to have some tools and ways to move out of overwhelm starting today, if that's where you're at. So the first thing, if you are in overwhelm right now and you have more on your plate than you can manage and you're not getting enough sleep and you're stressed and overworked, the absolute first thing to do, and I know this is the hardest thing probably to do, is to look after yourself, right? Nobody can run at the pace that you are running for long without replenishing their cup. So find a way to take some downtime at the weekend. Make at least a Sunday sacred so that you don't work on a Sunday. Like make sure that there is time and space for you to take a deep breath and breathe and be present and refill your cup, because you can't keep at this pace forever. And I've spoken to lots of practice owners out the other side. Something will give and we don't want you to get to that point. So first up, look after yourself as a priority. The next thing is to objectively look at where that overwhelm is coming from. So I have everybody who joins my Success Without Sacrifice program time track. It's the very first thing I have people do the minute they join the program. So time track this week. Every single minute of your day, and I know it's laborious and I know it's hard when you're really overwhelmed, but if you time track, you will see where your time is going and you will start to have some awareness as to what the challenges are. If 80% of your time is going to seeing clients and you have a team of 6 people, that's why you're overwhelmed. You're seeing far too many clients to be able to run the business. You're very much stuck in lead clinician role and you need to be transitioning to CEO. A CEO cannot see a full caseload of clients. There's not enough hours in the day. You end up stealing those hours from elsewhere. That's where they're running the payroll at nighttime and doing HR stuff in the evening and working at the weekends comes in because you have too many clients in your day, more often than not. If your work is bleeding out of the edges, you're seeing too many clients. this next thing is then to look at, okay, well, if I see that, and maybe you're not seeing lots of clients, so let's look at that example. If you're not seeing lots of clients, and then your time is more than likely being swallowed up on tasks that are not CEO tasks. So if you think about the CEO of a company, they oversee everything. They're not running payroll. They're not doing all the marketing detail. They're overseeing the people who do that. And I know that today is too soon for you to be the CEO who oversees everything in your practice. But there are absolutely things that are way too low down the pecking order of importance of task that you are doing today, this week, that you shouldn't be. So if you aren't seeing lots and lots of clients, and that isn't the issue, but your time is being consumed with admin and business stuff, then every single thing you do this week, ask yourself, is this a CEO task? Or is this something that an admin could do? Or, my practice manager could do? Is there a way that they could do this? And I'm not saying that you just palm it off to them, because that's poor delegation, but ask yourself the question, because there will be things that you are doing that you do not need to be doing and someone else in your team can do. Now, if the challenge then is my team are completely snowed under and no one's got any time, then you need to be assessing where their time is going and adding more resource. Now, what people often do is to try and add resource where they need help. So I need to offload my workload. So I will put my practice manager up from 20 hours to 40 hours a week. But that's very expensive and has a big cost implication to the business. What I advise you do, and this is what we have recently done in my business, we came to a situation where my operations manager was becoming the bottleneck for everything. And I'm like, you're not getting the big projects done that we need to get done. What's going on? And we looked at her role, and she had lots of admin tasks in her role that we could have somebody else doing. But the admin was full of tasks as well that she would pass those to. So we hired at the bottom of the line. We hired a new general admin person for the lowest, that you pay people in your business, because they're not super skilled, they're not super experienced. And we transitioned tasks from our admin, Karen, to the new admin, Pat. We then transitioned tasks from my ops manager, Rain, to Karen, who's been with us for 2 years, and we know and trust, and we know where her strengths are. And then I have then been able to transition things to Rain as my ops manager. I've got an extra 10 hours from my ops manager this week for a nominal fee of paying the admin for 10 hours of her time. Right? I'm not paying an extra 10 hours to my ops manager at whatever it is, $40 an hour. I'm paying 10 hours down at my admin's level for, I think that's like $18 an hour, right? Way more cost effective, makes more sense from the point of scaling, because now we've got another team member and I've got what I need. I'm not overwhelmed anymore because my ops manager is able to take more things off me. So when you look at it, if everybody in your team is full, that's where you need to place your attention for getting more help. Don't try and ask your practice manager to work more, because that's going to cost you a lot of money. And if you've got the funds to do that, great. But we want to do this in the most effective way possible, right? We want to have as much profit coming to you as possible. So we start at the bottom. We hire a new person down there. We transition tasks down the line so that everybody frees up space, and then that allows me to pass tasks over to my operations manager. That has reduced my overwhelm significantly, but it's also reduced her overwhelm and increased her sense of fulfillment, because she knows that what she's doing now is really having an impact, and she's not doing tasks that are, in reality, not playing to her strengths. It's also meant that our admin, Karen, has been empowered and given more responsibility, and she's really happy because now she's doing things that she wasn't doing before. That is what creates a thriving team. Everyone's playing to their strengths. Everyone's feeling like they have responsibility. Everyone is doing work they love. No one is completely overwhelmed. My team is thriving, and that lets me thrive because I'm not overwhelmed anymore. So the key takeaways in that is, first, track your time this week. Where does your time go? If you're seeing a significant amount of clients and that's forcing the business stuff to bleed out into the rest of your time, that's the issue that you need to work on. And I know that that's scary, because if you're the person generating most of the revenue, it can be a concern that you're going to take a huge hit revenue-wise. But as I've talked about in previous videos, there's no point you bring in $20,000 this month, let's just say, in the revenue you can generate, because in a year's time, you're still going to be stuck there. If you can reduce that this month and free up time for you to focus on your business, that's going to allow you to scale and to potentially have a business that's twice the size and twice as profitable in a year's time, instead of being stuck on the hamster wheel. So if you're seeing lots of clients, reduce down the amount of clients that you're seeing so you can free up time and reduce your overwhelm. Well, if you're not seeing lots of clients, then you need to look at whether you're doing CEO level roles and tasks, or whether you're doing things that your team could be doing. If your team could be doing them, but they're full, then you need to look at hiring, but hire at the bottom of the chain of your team with the least expensive team member you can, and transition everybody's tasks down so that you empower your team. You allow them to work on new and interesting tasks, give them more responsibility, but you free up your time in the process. Let me know what was good about today in the chat. Let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what comes up for you. Do you try and track? Have you thought about this piece around transitioning tasks down your team? Let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. I hope it's been helpful. If you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week.